WLNS is here for you with 6 News at 11.
More than 1,000 flights delayed, hundreds more canceled this holiday season by rough U.S. weather. It's our top story at 11. Thank you for joining us. I'm Siobhan Klepper. Sherry is off tonight. The TSA says this is one of the busiest travel days of the year and that winter weather is complicating efforts to get people to their destinations on time. Wendy Gillette has a broader look at the problem.
From Atlanta to San Francisco and most airports in between, holiday travelers are on the move.
It's been a bit busier than we expected. My mom and stepdad made sure we got here early enough to avoid any congestions.
Officials recommended arriving 2 hours before domestic departures and 3 for international. In Baltimore, some travelers gave themselves plenty of extra time.
Probably got to the airport too early. It's a bad habit, but ingrained from long lines in the past.
Some waited until after Christmas to take long trips, including one woman heading from San Francisco to visit family in Florida.
My dad doesn't like to fly a lot. He's afraid to fly the airplanes, but I have more accessibility for me to fly over there and be with them and share with them, for the period of time, at least for 3 weeks.
This has been the busiest year ever for air travel in the U.S. The Transportation Security Administration says its top 10 busiest days of screening passengers are all this year.
I wasn't anticipating that.
It's also busy on the roads.
It's on the water right now.
Some who live in Texas and Louisiana are still dealing with the aftermath of at least 8 suspected tornadoes and flash flooding Thursday. In the west, an atmospheric river is bringing treacherous conditions to parts of Washington state. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, San Francisco.
Well, back here at home, the Michigan legislature is putting the finishing touches on legislation that would set new punishments for a crime that has been growing quickly in recent years called sextortion. And that's when someone compels a victim to do something against their will by threatening to distribute sexually explicit photos or videos of them. It's a well-known scam that usually targets young people on social media for either money or more sexual content. Under these 3 bills, sexual extortion would be its own distinct crime, punishable by up to 5 years in prison with harsher penalties for repeat offenses. Aggravated sexual extortion targeting minors or vulnerable adults would be punishable by up to 20 years in prison. The bills passed both the State House and Senate. Meanwhile, at the federal level, President-elect Donald Trump is calling on the Supreme Court to delay the proposed ban for the social media platform TikTok. That ban is set to take effect on January 19th, 1 day before Donald Trump takes office as president. The Supreme Court is set to hear a challenge from TikTok's parent company ByteDance early next month. Mr. Trump has opposed a TikTok ban in public and met with the company's CEO at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida last week. But in the amicus brief filed today, his attorneys claim he has no position on the merits of the case. Instead, he wants to make sure his new administration has a say in the matter. Meanwhile, a new Congress will be sworn into office 1 week from today, and there were hopes that the political tension would die down after a contentious election season, but that might have been a bit too optimistic. As Scott McFarland reports tonight, there is a surge in swatting attacks and bomb threats targeting elected officials.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene posted this video of a bomb technician responding after she was targeted by a bomb threat. The latest in a series of threats triggering police responses against her and other members of Congress.
This is the trend that we're seeing. These people are getting threatened in their homes. Their families are being threatened.
Testimony from the U.S. Capitol Police reveals there have been at least 50 so-called swatting attacks on members of Congress in just the past month. Incidents in which someone makes a false claim of a bomb or a mass shooting at the home of a public official.
You've got, a bunch of law enforcement officers that are pounding on the door, kicking in a door, and it's a recipe for chaos, and it's a recipe for somebody to get innocent, to get hurt or killed.
That number you reported, 50 or so, is that a striking number to you?
In a 1 month period, yes, which means we had multiple cases a day. And again, these are occurring all over the country. And so, yeah, it was certainly got our attention.
After a year marred by political violence, the November election hasn't broken the fever. Several U.S. House members told CBS News they've been menaced in recent weeks.
I am being unfairly targeted right now. I'm receiving death threats.
I'm fine, but, I got a family at home that has to deal with all this.
Including North Carolina Democrat Wiley Nickel, who told us his recent editorial recommending strategies to push back on President-elect Trump's agenda triggered a wave of death threats.
We've had threats on my life, my family, my staff. It's been, very ugly.
To counter the harassment, Capitol Police are deploying more officers into elected officials' home communities and airports during travel. At least one of these recent swatting incidents has been linked with a death. A police officer rushing to respond to the bomb threat at Congresswoman Green's home was involved in a crash that killed another driver. Scott McFarland, CBS News, the Capitol.
A dog and a deer fell through the ice on a pond in Ottawa County this afternoon, but were rescued by the Georgetown Township Fire Department. Our media partners at MLive report around 3 o'clock, a woman was walking her dog along the Grand River just west of the city of Wyoming. And that's when fire officials say a deer ran past and out onto the pond. The dog followed, and they both fell through the ice separately. Firefighters pulled both animals to shore and toweled them off. The dog went back to its owner, and the deer ran off into the woods. But fire officials want to remind everyone tonight about the danger of going out on the ice. The Ari Olds Transportation Museum in Lansing is inviting local families to pay a visit soon to help keep their kids occupied during the winter break. So whether it's the rest of this week or next week, it did offer guided tours at 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock today, and will do so again tomorrow, giving kids and grown-ups a chance to see some pieces of Michigan's automotive history up close.
We just wanted to have a chance to bring more families into the museum, and an easy way to do that is have a craft for kids to do and get them excited about cars and Lansing history. Kids enjoying themselves and learning something new is what we always hope for when people come to the museum.
And you can find more information on the Ari Olds Museum on our website right now, WLNS.com.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Over the next several weeks, this is the heart of our snow season, typically, at least climatologically. And boy, there is not a lot on the way, at least the way it looks right now. What are the odds we see at least 2 inches total of snow over the next 10 days. Now I expect the UP and northern lower to have some pretty high numbers. Not a shock there, but I expect that purple area to be much larger. For us, a 10% chance, which means there is not a lot of snow in our forecast, partially due to the warm air that we've got out there currently. We're in the 40s now, or today we'll be in the 50s for Saturday, back in the 40s Sunday, Monday. And it does get colder next week. There's just no major storm systems nearby, so we're going to have to rely on some lake effect snow, which probably will begin to crop back up into the forecast late next week into next weekend. It's the eastern U.S. which is going to see the bulk of the cool down, the big pattern change. West Coast will be warming up quite a bit, but once this blue shading, below average temperatures, moves in, may stick around for quite a while, so eventually, hopefully, we'll get a storm system out there, if, of course, you want to see some snow. Otherwise, if you want to see some rain, we've got that and a lot of it on the way, potentially over an inch of rainfall accumulation. The bulk of the heavier rain is going to come Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, and then it'll start to move out. Monday, it's mainly to our east. Tuesday, no green there, but there's a little system that's going to move through the Ohio Valley that may try to throw a rain or snow shower in our direction. Satellite and radar tonight, it's all rain, even if you head into the UP. It's warm across the entire region. So rain showers will continue as we move into the overnight hours. Some more rain showers tomorrow morning. Our first area of low pressure will begin to push away from the region. So breezy tomorrow afternoon. If we're lucky, we'll get some sunshine out there. We'll say variably cloudy. Obviously, the cloud cover's thicker the further north and closer to that storm system you go. Saturday night, Sunday morning, our second area of low pressure moves in. So widespread rain starts to break out very early, and we'll have basically rain and become more widely scattered perhaps in the afternoon, but a very wet Sunday is on tap. You do notice it trying to mix with a little snow to our west, so as the system begins to shift east Sunday evening and Sunday night, There may be a couple wet snowflakes that mixes in, but temperatures are going to be above freezing, so it shouldn't cause any major issues out there. Tonight on the Skyview Network, our temperature 47 degrees on the McLaren Cam. That is our high for the day. We're only at 500, an inch of rainfall, so it has been very, very light. In Grand Ledge, a little more in the way of rainfall. We're up to 1,100, an inch. Our temperature also at 47 degrees after a morning low of 39. Tonight on the Jackson Cam, we're also at 47 degrees with 38 the low and just under 1/10 of an inch of rainfall. We've got some wet streets there on Hillsdale with 1,200 of an inch of rain in our current temperature. That is sitting at 48 degrees. A few other numbers sitting between 45 and 50 tonight, so temperatures really haven't budged much since earlier today. At the coolest 42 degrees, but probably we're going to be a little bit above that with rain showers continuing. Low 50s at 7 o'clock, low 50s at 4 o'clock. Scattered showers will become more widely scattered in the afternoon. It'll be breezy tomorrow as well. Again, one more look at the radar showing rainfall continue to move in tonight. The 6-day forecast shows temperatures cooling off next week. Monday and Tuesday, the days of transition. Wednesday and Thursday, we're in the 30s and 20s, and then we stay in the 20s with several chances for lake effect snow showers by the end of next weekend.
Okay, so we may see some snow, but we will definitely be cold.
Oh yeah, and after the 50s, I mean, that just sort of adds insult to injury.
It does.
You're going to feel it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, David. Well, coming up here on 6 News at 11, we are getting a closer look at the Trump administration's plans for mass deportation. We're going to hear the reactions coming up after the break. That and more still to come tonight, so keep it right here.